So I was requested to do a review on peanut butter flavors. Mind you, number one, haven't used peanut butter flavorings in quite a while. Like we're talking, I was still using cartomizers and ego batteries or whatever. So it's been a while. And so I don't know how useful this information is. But I mean, the flavors are still the same. It's just your percentages are going to most likely vary, which I mean, it's going to regardless. But anyway, I've only tried 2 different peanut butter flavors, and it was the Perfumer's Apprentice peanut butter and the Capella's peanut butter. Now, I will say that I did enjoy both of them, but depending on what kind of peanut butter you favor, you probably will favor one over the other. I personally have always liked Jif peanut butter the best, and namely now I get the Simply Jif, which is less sugar and I guess like less ingredients, like it's more natural, I guess. And the Capella's peanut butter is more of like a Peter Pan kind of flavor, where it's sweeter and it's less peanutty. So depending on which peanut butter you like in real life, it should be a good indication as to which peanut butter that you would like, flavoring wise. Now, both the Perfumer's Apprentice and Capella peanut butter, the percentages were they're pretty much the same as far as like how strong they are. When I was mixing, mind you, like I said, I was using poor equipment, I guess, compared to now, where, basically my equipment's a lot better, so the flavoring percentages are a lot lower now than they were then. But at the time, I was using 50-50 blends, or at the most 60-40, just because, of what I was using, like clearamizers, cartomizers. You had to use thinner liquids or it wouldn't wick properly. So I was using that back then on an Ego, which is like 3.4 volt or something like that, really low. So keep that in mind. I was using both at around 13%. I found that if I went any higher, I started getting adverse effects as, steeping progressed, which is basically if you're using too much flavoring, I think I mentioned this before, what will happen is as it starts to steep, the flavor will actually lessen, like it'll become weaker. That's when you know that more than likely you're using too strong of a percentage. Now, if you're vaping these liquids right away, you're probably not going to notice it and it's not going to be a big deal. But if you are planning on having the liquids around a while, which is what happens with me because I don't vape high quantities of juice at a time, you're going to want to, use lower percentages. That's what I like to do, is just use lower percentages. But anyway, as far as now, I would start probably around 5% and work your way up. I'm guessing it would still probably be pretty high, around 8 to 10% for each of these. But having no experience recently with these flavors, I couldn't tell you for sure. And even if I did, depending on your setup, the wattages you vape, the coils that you use, so many different factors go into the percentage that you would use. And the thing with like both flavor brands or whatever, Perfumer's Apprentice and Capella, the percentages that people use in these flavors range very, very much. And that's why I tend to stick with flavor art, because they're more consistent, at least for me. But I still do enjoy, Perfumer's Apprentice and some Capella flavors, which I'm actually waiting, probably could vape them. It's just, I'm a flavor tester for a certain company. So I've been having to go through a lot of those flavors, so a lot of my personal flavors that I mixed have been kind of on the back burner because I've been trying to get through these other flavors so that I can give the results to the company, and they basically decide which flavors they're going to release to the public based upon reviews that they get from the testers. So I've been kind of focusing on that. But I do have Capella flavors that I got from somebody from YouTube, ironically. I'm not going to say like who, because I'm not sure they want to, you know, people to know or whatever, but there was a person that sent me flavors recently, and I am waiting on those. But according to their smell, they did smell good, and they were all from Capella, which is why I brought it up. But anyway, I'm getting sidetracked as usual. But basically, I do like both peanut butters. It just depends on what your preference is, you know, opposed to Jif type peanut butters or Peter Pan type peanut butters. I see no problem getting both because they're generally pretty cheap. You can get Capella's pretty cheap from ELIQUID Mart, and Perfumer's Apprentice pretty cheap from like Wizard Labs. As far as like where you can get them together, you might even be able to get the Capellas from Wizard Labs as well, because they have started carrying Capella flavors, but I'm not sure if they have that particular one because I haven't been on their site recently, because I have so many flavors, it's ridiculous. But another thing I wanted to mention while I remember is there is a recipe that a certain poster or member, or whatever you want to call it, a person on the Vaping Underground forum, his name is Head in the Clouds, abbreviated to HIC. So if you ever see HIC referenced in various forums like ECF, Reddit, etc., because he's pretty much everywhere, that's who they're referring to. And he does a lot of mixing in the DIY sections, and he does share a lot of his recipes, one of which is a no peanut butter, I think is the name. I'll put the link below as to where you can find that specific recipe. But it's basically a mixture of several different flavors that aren't peanut butter, but combined give a peanut butter-like flavor. So if you haven't had any luck with the peanut butter flavorings that you've tried and still want a peanut butter flavor, maybe try that one, because a lot of people have said that it's really good. I haven't personally tried it because I think I might not have one of the flavors, I'm not really sure, but I haven't tried it personally, but a lot of people have said that it's really good, and it's something to try if you haven't liked the other, you know, options that you have. But anyway, if you have any questions, put them below. If you have any suggestions or requests as to flavors that you want to see, put them below, because more than likely I have at least one or two of the flavors that I can kind of push forward, because I still have a lot of flavors I need to review. So if I know that there's a demand for it or interest in it, I can kind of push them ahead of the line. So go ahead and put them below.